killing of Turkish-American activist Ayşenur Ezgi Egi. Recent reports dispute Israeli account that she was shot accidentally. Given the what happened with the Shireen Abu Akleh case, is the U.S. reconsidering its stance on the Israeli narrative on this, and is it still the U.S. position that you are waiting for the results of the Israeli investigation instead of launching a U.S.-led independent investigation as demanded by Ayşenur's family?
Yeah, let me say this. We have been briefed on the results of the preliminary investigation by the government of Israel, and they have told us they are conducting a full criminal investigation. We are going to wait to pass any judgments about what steps ought to occur next until we have, in terms of from an investigative standpoint, until we've received the results of that investigation. We think they ought to be, that investigation needs to be thorough, it needs to be prompt, and it needs to be transparent, and then we'll make any determinations at the conclusion of that investigation. But that said, as the Secretary said earlier this week, even knowing what we know now, we know enough to know that the Israeli security forces need to make changes in the way that they are operating in the West Bank, because you have now seen not just one, but 2 American citizens killed as a result of what the Israeli forces the Israeli forces admit themselves were fire from in this case the IDF. So it's very clear that they do need to make changes in their rules of engagement. We're going to continue to press them on that, and that I think is a different question than the one about the investigation. But my point being, we know enough now to know that there are changes that need to be made.
And just a quick follow-up: what changes do you expect from Israel, and what consequences? Will there be any consequences for Israel for killing a U.S. citizen?
So we want to see changes to the rules of engagement. First of all, with respect to consequences, you do need to wait to see the results of the investigation to know whether there need to be any specific criminal consequences for the individuals involved. It's important that that investigation play out. And as I said, it ought to be prompt and thorough and transparent. But ultimately, when it comes to the changes in the rules of engagement, what we have said, or what we have seen, and you heard the Secretary speak to this, is we have seen a number of occasions when Israeli security forces have stood by when there were acts of settler violence. When they haven't intervened, we want to see them intervene and stop those acts of settler violence. We have seen reports of excessive use of force by Israeli security forces against Palestinians, and now we've seen the death of 2 American citizens, and we want that to end. And that's why we want to see the changes to the rules of engagement. And with that, I'm sorry, I do have to wrap.